So any kind of initiative to be able to move away from the SWIFT structure unironically stems from America's appetite for sanctions and now this acceleration of tariffs as well. In terms of like ruining global
Let's begin here, though. Breaking overnight, Iran's supreme leader issuing a new warning to the United States after President Trump threatened to bomb Tehran. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei warning that America will receive a strong blow if it acts on President Trump's threats on a new nuclear deal. News Nation's Tom Dempsey has the latest from Washington. Tom, good morning to you. We're starting to really get a clearer picture here.
People like to justify America by critiquing China. It says a lot. I mean, yeah, it's just copium. You know what I mean? That's all it is. You have to have, in a way, it is no different than when an American needs, like a working class white man in an area that has been left behind, like West Virginia, needs to think about someone that's like lesser than they are in order to feel like they've been elevated, in order to feel like they're actually not in the worst possible position. And it's no different across the board. And it's the same principle behind why like Americans would be like, oh, why are so many people coming here then if it's so shitty? It's like, yeah, because other places are even shittier. But there's a reason why people from Norway aren't coming here, okay? Even though Western Europe is also rapidly Americafying at an alarming rate, as America is becoming more Turkish at an alarming rate. Everything is just evolving. You know, Knut disagrees. Okay, come on, guys. You have one example. We're talking about mass migration patterns. As long as there's someone below them, they think they're doing better. Yeah, exactly. So all of the problems here, all of the problems that we have here that we could fix, that we have enough wealth to fix, we just don't have the motion and, you know, and it's not going to happen through the magnanimous nature of the super wealthy that want to maintain their super profits. But all of those issues are, you cast them aside. It doesn't matter. At least you're not Chinese. You know what I mean? Look at China. It's so much scarier, so much worse.
Of the president's plans to turn back the clock on Iran's nuclear program.
That's right. Good morning, Mark. Some big comments coming from President Donald Trump, who says that if Iran does not make a deal to rein in its nuclear program, the United States may resort to bombing the country. He made these comments during a recent interview with NBC News. Obviously, a lot of attention on this, with President Trump putting it bluntly, quote, if they don't make a deal, there will be bombing, and it will be the likes of which they have never seen before. But Iran's own president says the country has no plans to directly negotiate with the United States, writing, quote, we don't avoid talks. It's a breach of promises that has been caused issues for us so far. They must prove that they can build trust. But President Trump made it clear over the weekend he will not back down.
And we're going to either have to talk and talk it out, or very bad things are going to happen to Iran. I would appreciate.
Here, let's watch the full threat. Iran warns Trump over U.S. military threat. Bro, this is the other thing, bro. Other countries know how to do protests so much better than us. Like, whether it be Yemen or Iran, whether it's a pro-government protest or anti-government protest like in Turkey, or a pro-government protest in Iran, like they mobilize. They love this shit, bro. They do. Look at this. When you think about it, even Israel does protests. Israel is very American. You know, Israel is very America coded. And yet, even in Israel, they got better protests than we do. It's crazy. It's because we got the treats. It's called walkable cities. I mean, there is that too. I think there is that too, for sure. Speaking of protests, yes, I know there's a protest on Saturday in D.C. I will be there. I will be there. I will be there. I will be there. I know. I will be there. Some of the organizations actually reached out and asked if they want me to speak at the protest as well. I might do that, potentially. I haven't figured out what I would say if I were to do such a thing, but I will be there. Khamenei said that the U.S. would receive a strong reciprocal blow in retaliation, but cast doubt on the likelihood of an attack from the U.S. Hold on, I'm going to read it. Nations around the world are angry and upset. And that's just based on what they know. There are many issues and atrocities nations around the world are not even aware of. An anti-U.S. chants that you see in the streets of Europe and even in the United States stems from their limited knowledge. They would do more if they knew more. All I'm saying is this rogue group, Israel, must be eradicated from Palestine. The hostility from U.S. and Israel has always been there. They threatened to attack us, which we don't think is likely. Bro, the amount of words in Farsi that's like, the amount of words in Farsi that we use in Turkish as well is crazy. Dushman, dushman. Dünya, dünya means world. Dushman means enemy. Devlet, I think, did he say millet or devlet? It's just it's kind of crazy. Like, I can almost understand what the f he's saying. I mean, yeah, it's just they get it mostly from Arabic, for the record. Arabic is the one that connects all of this. We have a lot of loan words. Yeah, dunya is an Arabic word. I think it's in Hindi and Urdu as well. Hindi and Urdu is already like, don't get mad at me, but you know, it seems like the distinction between Ukrainian and Russian in terms of linguistic differences, you know? But if they commit any mischief, okay, it feels like he's saying a lot more, you know what I mean, than just whatever the translation is saying. They will surely receive a strong reciprocal blow. Didn't Ottoman sultans call themselves Padishah instead of Sultan? Padishah is also a Farsi loanword. Yes, Padishah is the same as Sultan. I am a white Jewish boy ready to die for the Ayatollah. Shut the f up, dude. Yo, we got Jewish boys in America talking about how their Shia Islam is the light out here. This is crazy. Dude, you're going to get deported. Isn't the Ayatollah Turkish Azeri? I don't know, maybe. I mean, potentially. I don't know. I don't know his background. It's not surprising if he is, because there's hella Turks in Iran and like Turkic peoples of Azeri descendants. I've heard that like in Iran they have the their memes are like Torks. Like they talk about how Turkish people, like Turks, are stupid. Like the light bulb memes that people make about like the Polish in Iran internally, from what I understand, it's about Turks. Haters. Yeah. There are hella protests at MN University campuses today. Nice. I have heard that anyone who has ever existed as Turkish thoughts is true. Dünya Türktür. All right. Let's get back to Trump. Iran threatens strong blow against the U.S. if Trump attacks.
For a deal to the other alternative, which I think everybody in this plane knows what that is. And that's not going to be pretty.
During his first term, President Trump pulled the United States out of a deal with Iran that put strict limits on Iran's nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief. But concerns have grown about Iran developing a nuclear weapon. President Trump sent a letter to Iran's supreme leader pushing for a deal after the UN's nuclear watchdog group, the International Atomic Energy Agency, reported earlier this year that Iran has accelerated its production of near weapons-grade uranium. Now, Iran insists that its program is for peaceful purposes, but really adding a lot on recent United States strikes against Houthi targets, with the United States accusing Iran of providing money and weapons to the terrorist group.
Yeah,
Marky?
A lot on the line there. And in a similar vein, when it comes to geopolitical tensions, Tom, the president also appears to be losing his patience with Russian President Vladimir Putin. What's the latest in that relationship?
Why should any country not try to develop nukes? Any country that's outside of the 10 years ago, I would have said, why should any country outside of the American periphery not develop nukes? Now, the mentality extends to countries within the orbit of Western empire as well, considering the actions that the Trump administration has accelerated. Like it's crazy. Every country, if you don't have nukes, you are 100 million% free real estate for proxy wars between superpowers that do have nukes. Superpowers that have nukes don't want to fuck up the bag, so they war over other smaller nations that don't have nukes. Look at Ukraine. Because the more nukes, the more likely someone stupid will end the world. I know. I understand that. I think there should be no nukes. Yeah. I guess this is the part of the broadcast where I tell you that Greenland must immediately get nukes to the Inuit population of Greenland. Okay? Not nukes, okay? Put some nukes in nuke. It's time.
Well, so first off, President Trump saying he hopes to speak later this week over the phone with Russian President Vladimir Putin, but he once again really held nothing back, Mark. He's saying that he's, quote, pissed off with the Russian leader right now, and that's because of recent comments from Putin about how Ukraine should be put under control of other governments. The president has been pushing for a ceasefire, obviously, and says if Russia gets in the way of that happening, the U.S. will hit it with tariffs.
Certainly wouldn't want to put secondary tariffs on Russia, but if they were put on, it would not be very good for that. All second.
Dude, what can this? Okay, this is not a joke. I genuinely don't know what more they can do in terms of like blocking trade from Russia, unless they go directly to the secondary markets like India, or directly go to the recipients like the European countries and tell them you can't do anything anymore, or else we will cripple your economy. Because like, that's it. You already maxed out. I feel like we already maxed out under the Biden administration against like not tariffs, but sanctions. Like I was talking about this with my family as well, where it's like there is now this de-dollarization initiative taking place in ways that even I thought was laughable, where, you know, countries are trying to move away from the SWIFT structure because, you know, 80% of the global economy still runs on the dollar, and therefore America has awesome control over all trade, and it's probably its most powerful tool. Now, the reason why countries have been able to effectively move away from this is because they've been forced to. There is already an existing secondary market, because the reality of the matter is if you tariff or sanction everyone, then you technically are not sanctioning anyone but yourself, because all of a sudden you have shut off the rest of the global market from trading with you. This is a really interesting dynamic with America, because they have isolated themselves. We, America, we have isolated ourselves from the rest of the globe by doing this. If you sanction everyone, then technically the only person that is being sanctioned is you. So any kind of initiative to be able to move away from the SWIFT structure unironically stems from America's appetite for sanctions, and now this acceleration of tariffs as well, in terms of like ruining global trade that we've set up, that has allowed Americans to have low cost treats for quite some time at the cost of the evisceration of the middle class, the evisceration of the manufacturing capabilities of the United States of America.
Secondary tariffs are very strong because essentially it says if you disobey our orders, you cannot do business in the United States of America. That's the cash cow.
Ukraine and Russia recently agreed to a partial and limited ceasefire, stopping attacks.
Yeah. The U.S. government, isolationist imperialism going super well. The U.S. government is on an international egg hunt, seeking exports from countries in Europe and elsewhere to ease the severe shortage that has caused egg prices at grocery stores to hit record highs. Yeah, they're begging Turkey to send as many eggs as possible. It's, once again, a self-owned, by the way, through and through, okay? You gut the safety measures that were put in place by eviscerating the HHS, FDA, and the federal regulatory bodies. And then, understandably, for one reason or another, massive flu, okay? There's a massive avian flu, which rips through your poultry production, which rips through your egg production, while you're simultaneously saying you're going to dominate the planet with your restrictive trade and cripple other countries' economies because you think it'll benefit America in the long run. Like, what the fuck? What do you expect? is the outcome. Trump is so incompetent, he's making a modern triarchy in Asia. I know. I already talked about this. I already tweeted about this, but he is JD Pandon, dude. Whether deliberate or unintentional, my goat, my king, doing JD Pandon once again. China, Japan, and South Korea agree to jointly respond to U.S. tariffs, dude. That is crazy. Till now, I didn't realize the reference, and it makes it so much funnier. JD Pandon is meant to mock the stupidity and incompetence of Trump and his government, implying that he could only be making such terrible decisions like tariffing America's biggest trading partners if he was a secret communist agent who was trying to destroy the United States from within and bring about a JD Pond. Permanent first world genocide. I do not care about the American ruling class. I only care about destroying the American working class. The Treatlerites will scream bloody murder. The suburbs will cry. It is I, JD Pandon. A blue check mark finally got the joke. Yeah. He's a Maoist third worldist, dude. That's it. He's a Maoist third worldist doing permanent first world genocide. The greater East Asian Crow prosperity sphere is back. Yeah, I don't like that Matt Iglesias is starting to recognize the Chinese century of prosperity. I hate that. It really does hurt my soul a little bit. It's honestly very funny that literally up until this very moment, Matt thought we were just a few good zoning regulations away from leading the next century. For the first time in my life, I really just think America may be cooked and it's going to be the Chinese century. First of all, here's the other side of this story. I think maybe not Trump, but people around Donald Trump have recognized the writing on the wall that this is the Chinese century of prosperity. I think a lot of what Donald Trump is trying to do is manage the decline of American empire to the best of their ability by behaving in this belligerent manner. I think they're making a mistake over and over again, but I think they recognize that as well. I mean, his main guy is Navarro. His main anti-Chinese guy is a dude who has spent the last 3 decades crying about how China is going to gut American manufacturing and it's already too late and we have to do something about it. They're going to dominate. They're going to dominate over and over and over again. Like, a lot of people are stupid, but even stupid people can sometimes recognize the truth. And that's Trump's main, like, you know, trade czar, kind of. Giving him too much credit, my guy? No, I'm not giving Trump credit. I'm giving people in Trump's orbit credit to a certain degree. I'm still very critical, but I think Trump, or at least those in his orbit, think that this is the way out. I think it's wrong, and I think it only accelerates Chinese dominance. They are mismanaging the U.S. decline instead of negotiating this decline with the upcoming superpower. They are, perhaps racistly, because of their Orientalist framework, okay?
You mentioned
they are operating on an Orientalist framework still, where they think that they can behave in this belligerent manner and like dominate our allies, our trade partners, to get a better deal out of them before everything falls apart. That's what I think is happening. But it is funny. I wonder if all of those people that have been yelling at me nonstop for saying, I don't think China is going to fall apart tomorrow, for the past decade at this point, almost, at least half of a decade, will they turn around and eat crow? Will they turn around and say, Hasan, maybe you were right about your prediction on where things were headed? Now that Matty Iglesias is on board, perhaps all of those liberals will start to recognize the truth. Who knows? Anyway, this is basically how the UK thought of themselves, like they were 100 years ago when they did Brexit. The UK needs the EU and the US needs China and the world. I mean, it was looking kind of shaky during the pandemic. No, the fuck it wasn't. If you thought China was looking shaky during the pandemic, you don't understand. First of all, the superpower that China has is central command. Okay? Centralized control implies that it is quite difficult for a nation state with that much power, with that much manufacturing capability to ever fall apart. One of the best examples of that is to look at the way that the real estate bubble popped in China. the evergreen fiasco where everyone kept saying like, it's over, it's done, it's over, China is done tomorrow. Look at this evergreen shit, it's crazy. I think, and I'm being very sincere when I say this, I think that one of the issues with respect to Western analysts and why they consistently are wrong on China is that they assume that the Chinese government operates with our principles in mind. That's how you arrive at the ghost cities phenomena, right? You're like, why are they building these cities? Oh, it's probably just to, get a blip in their GDP. They will never fill them. It's like, no, dude, they're building them to fill the cities. But it's like impossible to contend with if you're an American, because you're like, this doesn't make sense from a market perspective. This doesn't make sense at all. What the fuck? That's it. That right there should give you, if you are even remotely critical, okay, if you are even a little bit curious, if you're a little bit intelligent, you would understand that right there, long-standing anti-Chinese propaganda in the Western world, in all of these academic circles, that should have eviscerated your knowledge on China. That should have completely destroyed. It should have been a moment where every Western academic goes, okay, maybe they don't have the same exact mentality that we do. And we still do it. Here in the Western world, we still do this. We still operate on this boundary. We'll go, high-speed rail is unprofitable. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, yes, dude, they don't give a fuck. They don't care. They don't care. They just build shit. They don't care. You are stupid for thinking that the profit incentive is the most significant reason why there is any sort of development whatsoever. They don't care because they understand it's a jobs program. They understand that it actually yields bounties many decades past the point of developing these places, because that's what America did. There was a point in time, when America did this as well. Look at the New Deal. They're doing a New Deal every day in China, and we're like, what about the profits? It doesn't make sense. It's like, yeah, maybe they don't give a shit. Maybe they don't care about short-term profits. Have you ever comprehended that? Have you ever thought that might be the reason? But we have no way of seeing the world outside of these horse blinders that even the smartest academics in the best institutions in the West, ones that literally directly collaborate with Chinese academics as well, they just cannot comprehend that another country doesn't operate on the same liberal capitalist boundaries that we operate on, with the same motivations that we have, even though there is already an existing version of that in the Western world, in the United States of America. Look at the fucking USPS. Look at the highway system. None of that is profitable, but it has to exist, right? But if you were to listen to some of our best and brightest, right, in these institutions, they want to fucking gut those programs too. They want to destroy them as well and make them profitable as well. And it's so stupid. It's just omega cope at this point. And plenty of people will wash themselves away with as much cope as they possibly can to still think like, no. Like from a private enterprise profiteer perspective, China is a failure. It sucks. It's awful. Not realizing that perhaps there is, a long-term prosperity in mind with the decisions that the Chinese government makes.
The Black Sea and on energy facilities, but that has not stopped the war at all, with Kharkiv, the second largest city in Ukraine, being targeted over the weekend. And President Trump also had some words for Ukraine, warning it that if it does pull out of a rare earth minerals deal with the United States.
Are toll highways uniquely American? No, I'm sure. No, not at all. Other countries have that too. I think China has toll highways too. China is also, ironically enough, out of all of our foreign adversaries, China is closer to American culture than any other country. I say this all the time. People don't understand. Chinese people love cars, okay? They have public transit, but they have hella cars too. They are so American coded. I say this all the time. They love commodity consumption. They have a lot of Amerifat brain rot as well. They love their cars. They love the high status luxury indicators. Yeah.
Ukraine will have, quote, big problems.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to
They think Trader Joe's bags are designer. No, that's everyone else. That's not just China. That's like French people too. That literally is like everywhere outside of America. Trader Joe's bags are like a high status indicator, because that means you've been able to fly to the United States of America and acquire one. That's not just like China specific. Yeah, it shocked me as well. Like even in Western Europe, they think Trader Joe's bags are fire, because that means you were able to, fly to the United States of America and go to a Trader Joe's. You will never be able to understand this. You will never be able to understand this. The only reason why I'm able to understand it is because I too was fascinated by the endless bounty inside of an average American grocery store. When I was growing up in Turkey and I would visit America, it was a treat. I still enjoy going to CVS or Walgreens or American grocery stores. It's fucking awesome. It is probably one of America's most important cultural landmarks, okay? Ironically enough. Abi sen de mi Türksün? Evet abi.